Alright, so I am livid right now, and I want to say this. This is a couple days after the Nintendo Direct happened, where Skyward Sword HD was announced, and I'm livid because I'm seeing all over the internet like, oh, the game doesn't look that much better, or what in the they haven't shown anything different that they've done, and I'm just like, do you motherfuckers know how hard it is to like map button controls for a motion controlled game that everything like you do requires motion controls? Like, do you know how hard it is to map that shit to an analog stick where everything has to be precise? Do you know how much fine tuning that takes? I know, because I had to do that whenever I tried doing a Skyward Sword Let's Play using a Dolphin emulator. And I had to play with my controller. It is not fucking easy! Like, bruh. Like, okay. Let's take the graphics aside, because every HD port of the Legend of Zelda games before not before Twilight Princess, before Skyward Sword, everybody's like, oh wow, they look so much better. I went and grabbed comparisons between each game. The only things that was different between those three games was a different lighting improvement and higher res textures and 1080p for each one of them. Each one of them. They weren't remasters like how Capcom does for Resident Evils. They weren't remakes. They were legit ports with maybe a different lighting engine. That was it. Skyward Sword, the screenshot that everybody's using for comparison and stuff, is taken in the middle of the fucking sunny-ass sky. There's no shade over him, so it's hard to show off, you know, the lighting engine and everything with all that shit. There's no shadows to show off and everything. And even if there was, here's the thing, is why the fuck does it matter? Okay? The game has been up-res, it's in 1080p, it has in 60 frames per second. They did something that's extremely hard to do by making the motion controls for the sword mapped to the analog stick, which is extremely fucking hard to do to make it precise, because I've tried getting it fine-tuned, and there's a video out on the internet that tries to teach you how to do it, but guess what? Each way of fine-tuning it, you can't. There's not just a one-and-done way to do it. You have to fiddle around with it because everybody's controllers are different. There's different drifts in everybody's controllers. Some analog sticks stick for it. You know, some people's analog sticks, you know, are really easy to move. Others are stiff. So guess what? You have to adjust for that, and it's hard to do. And the fact that Nintendo has found a way to make it to where any analog stick should be able to work fine and clean like how they showed in the Direct is a fucking miracle. And it's fucking great. Now, there's gonna be some people being like, oh, I don't have any issues setting it up. Yeah, sure, okay, whatever. If you didn't have any issues setting it up, then guess what? I guess you had an easy time. But that shit is hard to control because you have the flying to try to figure out how to, you know, map that for your analog sticks. You have the flying for the beetle. You have the whip in the game that you have to learn how to use. Aiming is easy because you can just recenter things over and over again. Dowsing is easy with it. And, like, it's just, I don't understand why people are like, they've done nothing to the game. Are you serious? Like, when you look at the comparisons for the Skyward Sword and stuff, they look a lot cleaner for the models and everything. And people are like, well, Link looks ugly. How the fuck does Link look ugly? This is the cleanest that Link's looked. And people are like, oh, he doesn't look like a badass. Look at Toon Link, and you tell me that man looks like a fucking badass. That's what I have to fucking say. Like, I don't understand. But no, it's like, for me, it's like, you complain about motion controls and ask for a button, and then it's like, you get that, even though he didn't want to do that. And guess what? You fucking complain, oh, the graphics don't look good enough, even though they look fucking crisp and everything. And then you complain about the price point, even though most of you motherfuckers probably paid $50 for that Wind Waker HD, and then Twilight Princess HD was $60 as well, and it's still $60 online. And Twilight Princess doesn't look that fucking good. Like, I tried to keep being reasonable, but, like, showing off the comparisons, there was somebody who was like, oh, you can tell there's a difference because it looks darker. Why does being darker make it automatically better? So if I take the brightness of, you know, this capture right here of myself and make it darker, does that automatically make my game look better then, in your opinion? Like, if I go and take a picture and I, like, turn down the quality, not quality, but if I turn up the quality and then turn down the brightness, does that make it look better? Because people usually make games darker to hide the mistakes, people. That's how game design works. Like, they either A, use it to do video game magic to try to hide stuff. It's why in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and Transit, they had all the fog and everything, and they had it set to where you'd usually play it in darker brightnesses to try to hide it so that way they could make the game feel big on Transit. Or, you know, Silent Hill had all that fog to make the world feel bigger. It's called video game magic. That's what you know, companies do. So you're telling me Skyward Sword, one of the brightest and most colorful games of The Legend of Zelda, should have been turned down darker to try to look better? You're fucking on crack, mate. You're telling me this game that has a unique art style that went for the water paint aesthetic to try and make the game look, you know, different, like how everybody was hating on Wind Waker back when it was first announced because it didn't look like Twilight Princess, because Twilight Princess was originally how it was teased back then. Like, because people hated on the Wind Waker aesthetic, and then they ended up loving Wind Waker, and now everybody that most likely didn't play Twilight Princess, not Twilight Princess, but the Skyward Sword, is now attacking the game because there's a bunch of reviewers online that said that, oh, motion controls are crap, don't play the game. Oh, the story is stupid, don't play the game. Even though the story for Skyward Sword is, I'm going to say right now, 100 times better than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild has the worst dungeons in the game, doesn't have any good bosses at all, it may be except for one or two that you find out in the wild. The only good redeemable quality about Breath of the Wild is the fact that you have a very vast, wide open world that you can go and explore. And maybe some cute cutscenes with Zelda, even though the ones in Skyward Sword are a whole lot better. Skyward Sword has some of the best dungeon design, some of the best items design. Like, the whip is so fucking cool to use. And, by the way, every item's usable outside of the dungeon they were made for, unlike in Twilight Princess, where you could only use the spin top thing, the Beyblade Go Let It Rip, a few locations outside of the main temple it was made for. You know? Like, everything has a use in Skyward Sword. So if any of you all are like, oh, well, motion controls are bad. You know how easy that shit was to recalibrate? And if somebody tries complaining about Fee, how many of you actually paid attention to the dialogue Fee gave out in her cutscenes? Like, okay, I'll be real. Maybe Fee got annoying giving her exposition on, like, the very basic game stuff, but you have to understand, this was one of the very few games that, like, had its focus around motion control, so it had to teach you everything for, you know, game. And also, this was a generation bringing in new players. This game came out in 2011, mind you, 2011. That's, let's see, 2011, I was, you know, some people were turning 12, 11, 13 years old and stuff. Not many of them had played video games. The internet was not as vast and as big and as blown up as it was. So you're all telling me that there shouldn't have been tutorials and that people should just be told to figure it out? Like, are you all not thinking that there's new people coming into the gaming world? Like, fucking get out of here, man. And, like, sure, there was bugs that they couldn't fix because it's not like in modern day where you can just put out a patch and it, you know, be fixed in an instant. Like, there's 20 different patches that come out for a lot of games nowadays that are all completely online. Like, how many patches does Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War get in a month? How many patches does like Rainbow Six Siege or GTA or like like, you know how many patches come out for those games and they're still not bug free? Like, get the fuck out of here. Don't even get me started on Bethesda, and I love Bethesda. I'm a Bethesda fucking fanboy. But like, seriously, y'all need to get off your fucking high horses. Like, I'm buying a Switch just because I want to play Skyward Sword again. I'm like, I'm gonna be buying a Switch and an Elgato just to fucking stream Skyward Sword to you all because it's my favorite fucking Legend of Zelda. Best story, best characters. Fucking Groose is amazing. Impa's amazing. Which, by the way, Impa's really fucking amazing. Both of her. Let's see. Zelda is fucking adorable. Best girl, better than Breath of the Wild's Zelda. Fucking fight me. Link is adorable. The most expressive Link you'll ever fucking see. Unlike, you know, that fucking stone cold Link from Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I said it. I think Breath of the Wild, the only redeemable quality is that you can travel everywhere, but it doesn't have good dungeons or story or gadgets that are good. It has like what 5 gadgets that you like 5 items you can use. It's like the bomb, the magnetic, the ice, and the freeze time, and that's it. I think I can't remember all of them. Like, y'all really on some shit if you think that like Breath of the Wild is better than Skyward Sword. Like, and anybody that says like, oh, the game's Skyward Sword's super linear, each of the there's the huge overworld of the sky, and then there is 3 different sections that you go to. In each section, you can explore freely. And guess what? It's not very linear. Sure, the first part of the forest is kind of linear, but guess what? There's a part where you have to find these creatures at the start of the game to get information on where to find someone. And I'm not spoiling the game because I want to keep it all a surprise. And guess what? You don't have to find them in any specific order. You can just roam around until you find them. And then once you find them, you get an item, and then blah, blah, blah. And then you get to go into the dungeon. So, yeah. Like, I don't understand why everybody's like, oh, it's so fucking linear. You can fucking explore the world freely as you do. And then there's just so many good mechanics. Like, there in the desert section, there's these crystals that you can do that, like, make an area that's, like, turned back time. And in that area that's turned back time, it's, like, only in that area, and you can pick up those crystals when they're activated. And, like, as you walk, time around you will change. Things will appear that are different. Like, you could jump from a platform to a spot where an old platform was that's rusted away with that crystal in your hand, and that platform will reappear. And like, there's enemies that, like, if you set down the crystal and like after you walk into an enemy, if you knock that enemy outside of that zone around you where that crystal was activated at, that enemy dies because it got knocked out of the zone. Like, that's fucking cool. It's genius. And that's not just used once. There's multiple times. They even have a sea exploring area where those crystals are used, which is fucking genius. Like, there's so many cool things that happen. And like, my favorite Zelda boss of all fucking time is in Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess's bosses were alright, but nothing tops golden robot baby chick that's fucking got massive swords the size of the building and 6 arms. Like, y'all really on some shit. And like, I don't want to get too into it, but you could fucking rip those arms off like it's a Dark Souls boss. It's fucking intense and cool. Like, y'all really on some shit. All the designs are fucking unique and cool for everything. Like, you never feel like you're visiting the same place. Like, and people are like, oh, you backtracked. Are you telling me you never backtracked in Twilight Princess? And some people are gonna be like, well, the character designs are bad. Did you remember those kids in the starting area of Twilight Princess, or any of the people in the starting area of Twilight Princess? My recording froze. But my model froze. What's that? There we go. Like, do you remember any of those characters? Like, they all looked like they had the longest heads in the planet. Like, there's only like 2 or 3 characters that look fucking cute, actually. Like, there's the Bug Girl. Fuck. Midna was cool looking. I'm trying to think of an actual like cute character in Twilight Princess besides Bug Girl and Midna. Um, I'm. Was there one of those like treasure hunter ladies that was like kind of cool looking? I don't know. Yeah, I think those are the, like maybe the only 3 that are good looking characters. So like you really on some shit if you think that like Twilight Princess's character designs were also so far much better than Skyward Sword's, when Skyward Sword has Groose, baby. And like there's Groose, and then there's the item checkout girl who is fucking amazing. Zelda's amazing looking, and then you have the other classmates from the Skyloft Knight Academy. There's that one chick that's like fangirling over one of the other Knight Academy graduates from like the previous year, and then I think the fucking headmaster is fucking so dope looking. Impa looks so good. It just I didn't mean to rant for this long, but like there's so much stuff that like Skyward Sword has going for it that people need to understand. So, and I may have re-spoken, like backtracked and said things multiple times, but like y'all really on some shit. And like there's 3 dragons that are super fucking cool. Like like they're so fucking cool. So yeah, thank you for coming to my 17-minute TED talk about why Skyward Sword is amazing, and you all should fuck off if you think that it's a bad game, because it's fucking good. Y'all really just got tired of things. And by the way, Fee is best girl. She's better than any other fucking companion, not companion, but like help person. Then I think she's better than, she's up there with Minda. Minda's hard to beat, but like because Minda's sassy, but like Fee's just cool. Like Fee's just best girl. And Tetra from Skyward, not Skyward, but Wind Waker doesn't have much on her. And Navi is, hey, listen, not much personality behind that. But yeah, no, that's my reasoning on why Skyward Sword is the best Legend of Zelda, and that you should all give it a chance when it comes out on Switch. And also why Breath of the Wild is not a superior game to any of the Legend of Zeldas. If you want to play a good story-based Legend of Zelda, and that actually has good dungeons and stuff, go play Skyward Sword or A Link Between Worlds. Those 2 are fucking amazing. That's all I have to say. You all have a wonderful day. I love you all. Goodbye. And fuck all the haters. Love you, Cornstalkers.